Chapter 9. This chapter has some terrific examples of incredible writing that involve different techniques of figurative language. And so I want to point those out to you as I read a little bit. I know it interrupts a bit the flow, but afterwards I'm going to ask you what you think those phrases mean or those descriptions mean and why did she write them that way. So I really want you to notice them as I read them aloud. Similes and metaphors are one type of figurative language where you compare one thing to another in a way to make the description really sink in for you. Similes use the word like or as, and I'll point out the simile when we get there. And metaphors compare things without using that word, like or as. And then another type of figurative language that you'll see here, at least I consider this one to be personification, which means that it gives something that's not a person. It gives them sort of human-like qualities. And I'll point those out when we get to those as well. And pay attention to those because this is what you're going to have to explain what you think they mean in the assignment after you listen to the chapter. Chapter 9. They're still in the tower, okay? Or they're still, in La Reina Grande, nearby. Max turned away from Papa and faced the tower. I want to go inside. Am I old enough to do that? Papa hesitated and then walked to the wooden door and heaved it open. Just for a few minutes. Max stepped across the tower's threshold. The air was cool and the light dim except for slits of sunlight from the loopholes. Dirt, dried leaves, and chicken feathers littered the cobbled floor, and Max understood why someone would hide here. The tower was a fortress, safe and impenetrable. "Hello," he called, his voice sounding hollow in the cavernous womb. He walked around the room, running his fingers over the mortared walls, tracing one of the stones. They were larger than the ones used on the bridges. They were oblong with a beveled edge. The construction was superior. At the arched stairwell opening, a padlocked iron gate blocked the way. Max peered through the rails at the narrow corridor spiraling upward. There were markings on some of the stones, but they were too far away from him to read. He leaned against the gate and closed his eyes, his thoughts twisting like the staircase. Figurative language, right? That's a simile. His thoughts were twisting, just like that spiral staircase. He pulled the compass from beneath his shirt and held it tight. What if Papa couldn't take care of the matter in San Clemente? What if it wasn't fine? A wind threaded through the loopholes and a slushing noise began to pulse through the tower. It reminded Max of the time Theo had taken him to the ocean and held a conch shell to his ear. The sound grew louder and more insistent. Arroro, 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 hush, hush. There was a lullaby that began that way, and he tried to remember the words. Arroro, mi niño. Hush, my son, he whispered. That's how the song began. Was La Reina singing? Or a ghost? A wail like a baby's cry sent a cold shiver down his back. Heart pounding, Max fled the room and ran into the clearing, the compass thumping against his chest. Papa stopped sorting stones. You okay? I heard strange noises. It's just the wind working its way up through the chinks. Makes La Reina Gigante moan and sing. Up here, even an animal's cry can carry, and every time a cloud shifts, it looks as though someone's standing in the shadows. Papa shook his head. It's no wonder there's rumors of ghosts everywhere. Max nodded. Somehow it felt like more than that. He took a deep breath. Why is the gate inside locked? Tio wants to preserve the tower, someday make it a monument. A lot of history happened here. What are the markings on the wall? People scratched their names and messages on the stones so loved ones who followed could know who made it this far, or just to show that they were once here. Can you take me up there? No, Papa rubbed his forehead. We're never to disturb anything in the tower. Besides, it's not safe. He closed the wooden door and walked down to the wagon, where he flung a tarp over a bed of stones and tied it down. But you said the tower was sound, solid. Well, there's really nothing up there that concerns you. Come, Dulce can't pull any more rocks than this. Let's head out. I have a lot of work to do before I leave in the morning, and I need to tell Buelo about the bridge work. Papa led Dulce from the clearing. Frustration squeezed Max as he followed Papa and the wagon. That's personification, right? 'Cause this feeling was like a squeezing him. A twig snapped behind him and the bushes rustled. When he turned, he thought he saw a shadowy figure dart toward the outskirts of the ruins. The falcon swooped overhead, its wide wings shadowing the vision. When the bird veered, whatever Max thought he saw had disappeared. Was it only a cloud shadow, as Papa had said? Or was it something more? The heat of the day and everything Papa had shared pressed in on him. Another example of personification, the heat pressing in on you. His mind was a bulging suitcase overstuffed with questions and answers. No, his mind was a bulging suitcase overstuffed with questions and secrets. And there's your metaphor. His mind was a bulging suitcase overstuffed with questions and secrets. End of chapter 9.